Hello, it's Nikki. How are you doing? Today I want to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and perhaps a few realizations that I've been having in my 41st year about really going for what it is that you want and making the moves that you know could really help you to get where you want to get to. And there is so much conversation around synchronicity, law of attraction, knowing what is yours and what's yours won't pass you by. And there's so much conversation around this. A sign from the universe, the stars aligning, the moon being in the right position. And I would say that I am a spiritual person. And I very much lean into intuition and what feels good. But also, I know that there needs to be an equation here where I take action. And sometimes the solution or the thing that I need to do feels really right in my body, but the actual how or the practical process really has to catch up and is really far away from that feeling. And so it's been an interesting moment throughout, it's been more than a moment. For the last 20 years since I've been running my own gig, there have been really bizarre times when I've gone for a job or I've worked with a client and I just have some assurance in my body or in the way that I'm doing it, where I'm just like, I know this is going to work out. I just got a really good feeling about it. I can't wait to get started. And I remember Matt and I did an advert last year, and it was in bizarre times of in lockdown and all sorts of things. And Matt is much more like, I don't know, we'll just see what happens. But I knew that it was our job. I knew that it was. And when it finally came through, that was a really great thing as well. But the thing that I want to talk about today is that book. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We're Going on a Bear Hunt. When the children or a family, I can't even remember what it is, but I remember the rhythm of it. When you can't go through it, so you have to go under it, or you have to go round it, or you have to go over it. And that's what I want to encourage you to start thinking in those terms today. Because I feel that the narrative, the conversation sometimes is, unless something is absolutely staring in your face, jumping up and down, waving its arms, then it's meant for you. If it feels tough, or if it feels like you have to work for something, or it takes longer, somehow we're now fed that narrative of like, well, maybe it's not meant to be then. If it's not easy, if it's not in flow, then it's not the case. And actually what I found is things do take time. And you will see as the year goes on of what I've been working on behind the scenes. And I would love to say, oh, this just happened. I just manifested it. It arrived. But it's been a long process. It's been a lot of back and forth. And so many of the things that I've done in my life have been a real test of, all right then, how much do you want this? Are you willing to hold the stare? Are you willing to move into the person that is required to be in this situation? And sometimes the answer is no, I'm not. No, actually, I don't know if I want this. Or I start to tell myself like, no, maybe this is not the thing. Maybe in next year, maybe when I've got more time or money, or I'll give myself 1,000 excuses. And what I've found is A, that things take time, and B, if you really want to create something, the traditional methods sometimes don't work. Sometimes that is not your path to do that. And I guess if I reverse engineer the process, sometimes amazing opportunities have happened not by me going into a big boardroom and pitching, but me discovering something or spending some time on somebody's Twitter profile or having a conversation with somebody in the park and helping them with somebody, and then they say, oh, do you know what, I know this person and you should speak to them, and things have happened. I've noticed that again and again. Things happened in a weird and wonderful way. But what I would love you to take away from today is, firstly, really tuning in to what the next chapter is for you, what the next step is, and really pay attention to what it is that you want. And even doing that exercise, I think that it comes up with all kinds of emotions, because maybe we've told ourselves some stories of maybe that ship has sailed, or who are we to want that thing? Or if it's even for me, like, I get really awkward sometimes. If somebody says, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, I don't know, I have everything. Like, I just buy the things that I want. I feel quite uncomfortable. Hello, welcome to my therapy. I feel quite uncomfortable putting myself to the top of the pile. And I don't know why that is. I do know why that is, but that's for another time. But it got me thinking about a move that I made in 2014. So I've told this story loads before, when I decided to really go all in on my business and really step into this, I'm going to work on my own terms life. Now, 2 years previously to that, in 2012, I bought a desktop Mac, which is still here. It's on my computer. It's on my desk, rather. It's a computer I still use a lot. I love it. It still works, which is pretty good going nearly 10 years later. But I remember purchasing that computer and feeling really sick by the price. And to the point where I can't even remember how much it was, like £1,200 or something like that. And I felt so laden with that money, spending it at the time, that I carried it home on the tube, on a bus, all the way home, and really was quite uncomfortable doing that. And I didn't feel like I could justify a taxi ride, or I don't know even why I got on a bus either, because there's a bus that I could take to go home. Anyway, that was really interesting. In 2014, I knew that I wanted to make this move where I wanted to be able to be flexible, to go out and work wherever. And I knew that I couldn't lug my desktop. And very quickly, I realized I was going to have to purchase a laptop. And this made no financial sense to me, because I didn't feel like I had resources to do that. And so I had to really come up with a creative solution of how I could do this. So to use this example, I very much had right, this is the big vision. I want this laptop in my life. It's going to be great. And I'm going to be able to go into organizations, or I'm going to be able to work flexibly. And I was even thinking, like, I would love to have a baby. So I might be working in a bed next to them whilst they sleep. That actually did happen. It still happens sometimes. So I knew what the big picture vision was. So I started to do the calculations of the laptop costings, essentially. And this was around the September 2014. So this was just at a point where I was essentially giving up any reliable income and going all in. And I knew that this laptop, if I bought it in London, I think it was going to be something, again, around £1,200. And I thought, well, I don't know if I have that. I don't have that. And I don't know what I need to do. But again, connected to the vision. So I started to do some calculations of how could I make this work. And I remembered a conversation. And again, I'm very much checking my privilege here, and I know that not everybody is in this situation, but what hopefully you will take away from this is the foundations of looking around this. And so I looked at how much the laptops were in London, and then I remembered that my cousin, well, I knew that my cousin lived in New York, and she worked for a big company, and all of their employees, if they bought a laptop or for them or their friends and family, they got 15% off. So I got my piece of paper and I started to work out what that was. And then I was like, oh, and then the dollar versus the pound, and I don't even know what the conversion rate is now. I suddenly was like, oh, that's less. Oh, okay. So then I was suddenly thinking, right, okay, maybe I could have a conversation with her. Maybe I could do that. But then the laptop would be in New York. But then I knew my auntie was going at some point, and then I thought, well, how would she feel about that? And again, I put myself in that uncomfortable situation, and I shared that vision of what I wanted to do. It makes me emotional now just thinking about it. But oh, don't cry. But I shared that vision, and I just thought, this is what I really want to kind of build. And if you can help me, that would be amazing. And again, that really took courage to say something out loud, because the position that I was in at the time was not set up for that vision, but I believed it so in my heart. So then I worked out, okay, well, I've got a birthday in November and I've got Christmas, and my parents are divorced, so they do different presents. And I suddenly thought, well, maybe I could ask for a contribution alongside what I could contribute to it from either parent, from both parents, and that could be a Christmas and a birthday and maybe like a following birthday, but it was all just done in advance. And very quickly, working through this, I had a plan, I had a possibility. And I want to share this today because the temptation can sometimes be to wait until you have the traditional route set out. And I knew in order to do that traditional route, it was going to take me a long time. So I had to look at different ways that I could do it. Now, of course, I was very lucky to be in that position. I was very lucky to have access to people to help me in finances, and I very much understand that. But there are lots of different ways that this rule can apply, whether it's like trying to meet somebody or trying to get a meeting or trying to put your services into somebody's hands or whatever it might be. And you know what? The thing is, as soon as that laptop arrived, so I remember receiving it on November the 4th, and it was a really big moment of having it in my hand, and I took it home and I set it all up. The next couple of days later, I had a meeting and an opportunity to go and work somewhere and to have a meeting about something. And this meeting randomly came. Like, there was nothing in me that thought, oh, this is connected to something else. And I went in and I got this meeting and I pitched for the work. And in that moment, I quadrupled or times 5, I don't know what the word for that is, my hourly rate to what I had been earning up until that point in like a matter of weeks. And that particular gig provided lots of income, lots of opportunities. It really was, it was a tough one because you're working in a new environment and with a new setting. But I really felt like it was the equivalent, that opportunity of going into a growth period of like you were a brownie or a scout and getting like 6 badges really quickly. Like, yeah, oh gosh, yeah, let's go again. Let's add the next one. Let's do that. And that gig was amazing in supporting the pregnancy that I then had with Oscar. So this is November 2014. I got that gig in December 2014. And then I got pregnant in January 2015. So that supported me all the way up until the September before I took time off. And that's what I want to leave you with today, to look at alternative ways. Our school system taught us that things will happen like this and then like this and like this. And it won't. It really won't. It will happen in a really, or it could happen in a really different way. And so what I would love you to take away from today is just to be open to that. And sometimes grab that piece of paper and a pen and write down the different endings, write down the different methods, because it's all there for you, I promise. And also, if I can help with anything, please let me know. Another thing that I would love you to take away with is just to dream big. Dream really, really big. Please do. We need your voice. We need your vision. We need your vibe and brain and skills and experience, etc. I love you lots. Bye.